Welcome to Problem Solve, the podcast where me and a special co-host solve all your problems really easily, probably.
Problems? Are you kidding me? I don't have any problems. Okay, I might have a few, but I can work on them with you. Come on.
Claire, how's it going?
Hi, Jeff. Good. How are you?
I'm really good.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you.
Yeah, you've been on the podcast before. You're a fan favorite. And I'm glad that
thank
you're
you
able
so
to
much.
come.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me back.
Yeah, how's your day going?
It's going really well. I saw lots of clients. I actually went to see Esther Perel last night, which was amazing.
That's right. Yeah. What was she talking about?
Well, first of all, she wore an all red pantsuit, which I was obsessed with. And she was talking about relationships and desire and honestly community and the way that we've built our lives and how it's kind of unsustainable.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did a lot of people show up?
Oh my God, it was a fully packed house.
Really?
At the Masonic in SF. Yeah. Fully packed. Every seat taken. It was wild.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Do you disagree with anything that she says?
Can
we talk some shit?
Spicy, right? Right in. I'm not sure I disagree with anything that she says. I definitely I don't necessarily. I talk in a different way than she speaks. I really am always envious of all of the really large Scrabble type words that she's able to just pull out that that's just not how I function. But I think I talk a lot more about, obviously being queer, being non-monogamous, kinky, like those are types of things that I bring more into kind of my content and stuff that she kind of touches on, but doesn't go into major detail.
So you're saying that she's like a kink shamer?
Jeff.
Like Claire Perelman is saying.
No, stop. I'm not even going to let you have that.
I feel like that's what I heard. No? Well, no, it's a soundbite. Too bad.
Jeff, is there anything no, I talked over the whole time. Is there anything that you disagree with her on?
No, she is a legend. She is my God. I love her. I agree with everything she's ever done and said. I listen to her podcast sometimes, and she does this move where, like, if she's talking to a couple and one of the partners have cheated on the other one, and then they hide it and they don't tell, and then it's somehow revealed a year or two or later or whatever, she does this particular move typically where she's like, oh, well, you hid it because you love them so much. You didn't want to hurt them. You were so scared that you were going to let them down. You were protecting the relationship by not saying anything about it. And it always works. It works when she says it. It doesn't work when the cheater says it. You know what I mean? She's got a way with words. She's hypnotizes me. She's eloquent. She seems like she's the smartest person in the world, and she might be. She believes that, so I believe it too. Yeah.
I hung on her every word last night, honestly. I was just sitting there with my eyes as big as saucers, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in love with you.
I know. Whenever I listen to her, I'm like, I am so excited to disagree with her, and I never do. I can't ever do it, so I love to hear when other people do, and it's interesting that you think that she does kink shaming. She doesn't talk about poly stuff enough.
Jeff, stop.
And she's I think you said that off air right before, and so I'm just repeating. I'm revealing that this is how you feel.
All of this better be edited out.
I'm joking. Claire never said that. Okay. Moving on. We're talking about, we're going to answer some questions. And when I sent you some of the questions beforehand, you were like, babe, you need to fucking diversify. Like,
yes, that's almost exactly what I said.
Yeah. So I do tend to sort of like attract the same type of question from the same type of demographic. And I give the same sort of answer, which is like, break up with him. You could do better. And I love saying that. I'm that guy that says that. But we're going to answer slightly different questions because you work with a very diverse population, as do I, and I don't get to talk about it enough.
Yeah, I think it's important that we are answering questions that apply to even more people. Although I think many of them have general themes that can apply to lots of different kinds of people.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to get started. Adam is producing today. Andrea's not here today, but she's okay. Adam, can you play the first question for us?
Hello, queer pansexual here. I'm currently in a relationship with a cishet man, and we're discussing E&M and solo poly situations. I'm very much interested and open to it without much experience, and he is very resistant at this time, out of fear of that, like, I'll just leave him, or that this means that I want to spend more time and energy with other people. But I'm more curious about, like, where I'm coming from, and if, as someone who's interested in more than one type of person, if this is kind of like a common way for people like me to meet those needs, or if this is more of an indicator that I'm just not getting what I need out of my current relationship.
Claire, should she just break up? Is that it? Is this like her?
Do you
just
really want to say your line? Yeah, you want to say your line. Go ahead.
Break up. You can do better, babe. You're welcome. That's it. Problem solved.
Thank you so much. Okay, chat.
Bye.
I think there's a lot going on in this question. There is, I want to open up my relationship. There is, I'm queer and don't feel like my queerness is being fully expressed by being with a cishet man in a monogamous relationship. There's, my partner doesn't want to do the thing I want to do in my relationship. And there is, am I getting all my needs met? Did I miss anything?
I think that those are the basics. There's a lot going on here, and I feel like this is maybe not super uncommon that one person in the relationship.
Common.
Yeah. And this is I imagine that these two got together and agreed that they were going to have a monogamous relationship, maybe forever. That was like the intention, or that was the plan, or whatever. One of them is going ahead and be like, actually, I want to see if I can change up the agreement here. And that's going to be a shock to your partner, right? So I think him responding in a anxious way or a scared way, or feeling like this relationship is really threatened, or I'm not going to give you every single thing that you could possibly need, but that was our monogamous agreement, and that's what like monogamy culture tells us we should do, right? So now if I can't give you every single thing and you try to look for that outside of the relationship, well, then this relationship might be done. And I'm very worried and upset about that. Even though that might not be like the most evolved reaction, it's a normal reaction, right?
Yeah, that's a super normal reaction.
Yeah.
We are not taught how, first of all, we're not taught how to be in monogamous relationships, actually. And we're not taught how to be in poly relationships, but poly inherently feels, or open relationships feel more threatening because it feels like there is a more direct way for people to up and leave you. When in reality, monogamy doesn't mean that anything is guaranteed either. It's just the fantasy that your relationship is more guaranteed to not end.
Yeah, good point. And she also, I think she's saying, right, that she's kind of confused about where this is coming from. She's suspicious that maybe she wants to just end the relationship. And that could be from toxic monogamy culture, right? Like training her to be like, if you don't want everything, then maybe you're trying to subconsciously sabotage the relationship. Or it could be that she really loves her partner and wants to be in this relationship and wants to sort of expand the different ways that she experiences love or sex or connection or whatever. We can't, maybe you can, Claire, but I feel like we can't really tell her which one it is, or if it's a mix of both, or what's going on, right? Like we don't have.
Why could
that
I suddenly?
Because you're so good. You're the expert here.
Right. Of course. Yes, that's true. I have all of the answers.
But also probably pretty normal for her to be like, oh no, what the fuck is this? I have no idea how to digest it. And what does it mean for me internally? She's kind of on the journey of trying to figure that out.
Yeah. And I think as a bi or pan person, it can be a big question for us of like, how do I express my queerness? How do I feel fully grounded in it when I am with someone that comes off as a straight presenting relationship? And I mean, I have so much content about that on my page, so go check it out at Sex Clarified for everyone. But I think that for all us bi badass babes, that's not gender specific. You can be grounded in your queerness regardless of who you're dating, monogamously or not. And I think that that is part of the superpower that we get to have, is that we're queer no matter who the fuck we're sleeping with or dating. And I understand that it can be a struggle to feel fully, I don't know, quote unquote, actualized in your queerness when you're in a straight presenting relationship, but it doesn't mean you're any less queer. So I wanted to name that. I also want to name that, like, you don't have to be in a non-monogamous relationship and have a girlfriend and a boyfriend to show that you are bi or pan. You get to be with whoever makes you happy. If you want to be non-monogamous and have 3 different non-binary partners, great, fucking go at it. If you want to have 3 girlfriends, whatever, right? Like, it's not actually a guarantee if you open up your relationship that you're only going to find someone of the opposite gender than you're already dating.
True. I have a side question for you.
Yes.
And I might sound like such a uninformed, like cishet monogamous guy when I'm asking you this question, so be gentle. But I've never seen this label before. Yeah. So I saw somebody on Bumble, and that and they said, it was a woman, and this woman said, "I am straight / queer." Is that like a... Is that a thing where you can be like, I'm straight, I'm hetero, and I identify as queer? No, you're making faces at me. You've never heard this before? I'm
making faces. As some of my clients and many of my friends tell me, I do not have a poker face. But I'm making faces because I don't... First of all, you can identify however the fuck you want. I'm not entirely sure what straight / queer means. I think that queer can be a really expansive term, that like you can live your life in a really queer way. You can be queer. Like, queer means non-normative, really. And that's why it became kind of like the umbrella term. But I don't honestly know what this particular person is trying to get across.
I don't know what they're trying to get. We would, but I was wondering, like, is this like, have you seen this identification before, or is this like a new...
I live in the Bay Area, and I would say I have not, in my own personal experience, seen this identification before. Yeah.
And so I imagine, since you're in the Bay Area where queerness
we see it all.
Yeah.
It was invented here.
It was invented in the Bay Area. Okay. Yeah. That was just for me. I just wanted to, because I was like, oh, is this like how I can be in the queer community? Is this like a nice little loophole for me?
You can be straight / queer.
I'm straight / queer. Do I need to start like trending? Do I need to do my content on that? I don't think I need to. I don't think.
I'm going to go with no on that one.
I'm going to go with no. Okay, good. So she doesn't have to have a boyfriend and a girlfriend to be like, to proving to whoever, proving to herself or proving to the community or an imaginary projection of the community of like, this is my queerness and now I am valid, or now I count as, yes.
Exactly.
Also, yeah, very important for her and for lots of other people to hear. But what the fuck should she do? Let's give her some advice. Can we give her any advice? Where do we go with this?
I think that one of my favorite resources on non-monogamy is The Anxious Person's Guide to Non-Monogamy by Lola Phoenix. I'm pretty positive. I love this book. It is one of the best resources on non-monogamy I've ever read, and I've read a shitload of them. And I think that could be beneficial if she and her partner are looking for a shared language around things. And I think that is a really important piece to start with, that you have a shared language so that you know what you're talking about. And that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to transition into an open relationship or a poly relationship, but at least you can discuss what the feelings are about it, what might come up for you, what agreements could potentially be made or why it might not work for you, because it's totally okay for E&M to not work for you, even if you really want it. So I think that's one. And another thing is that like, you can't force your partner to do something that they don't want to do, right? Whether it's opening up the relationship or any other thing, like wearing a specific style of clothing or cutting their hair or going running with you. You can't force them to do something that they don't want to do. And that might be really disappointing and frustrating. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to break up, and you get to decide how much of that you can tolerate.
I mean, yeah, I would rather just completely open up my relationship than go running with my partner. Hands down.
I knew it. You hate running. You hate hiking. Running. You hate camping. What do you even do, Jeff?
Absolutely nothing. Before this, I was watching Selling Sunset, and I was so resentful that I had to get on this fucking podcast. Oh, you watched too?
Oh my God. Okay, I've been watching the newest episode. I love trashy reality TV. Hi, Chriselle.
I do. Yeah, fucking Chriselle pisses me off. I can't stand Chriselle. I'm on Bree's side. Oh my God.
Bree all the way.
Who's not on Bree's side, right?
I don't know.
She's the voice of reason, the voice of the audience, and looks amazing. And
can I look like them all the time? That's what I want to be in a hot pink, giant, oversized pantsuit with no bra.
But how uncomfortable do they look all the time? Like, there's no way that they're
deeply
comfy in these clothes. Yeah. But, I too can be a fashion to victim. Both of us can try that out, maybe. Anyways, why am I talking about this? Oh.
Because you were watching it before, and that's where you get all of your relationship advice from.
You asked me. Yes, that is where I get all you've revealed me. No, you asked me what I do. That is what I do.
Right, because you'd rather open up your relationship than go running. But that's the point, is that if you and I were in a relationship, which we're not, I want people to know that, I could not force you to go running with me, even if I desperately wanted us to be a couple that runs together.
You're not going to force me, but you probably will ask me. Right?
I can ask you. We can have a negotiation about it. I can kick and scream if I want. That's also not a great way to get my needs met. But I get to decide at the end of the day how much I can tolerate being in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to go running with me.
You do get to decide that. And if you do want to influence me to go running with you because this is like a deal breaker, you're not going to be in this relationship and I'm in love with you and I want to be in a relationship with you, then I'm going to maybe start to slowly open up to running, but I'm not going for like a 10-mile run outside on a summer day, right? Like first we're going to have fun going to buy new shoes for me. Like that sounds really interesting. I want like really cute running shoes. We're going to spend a while, months on coming up with a playlist, right? And we're going to eventually maybe like do a treadmill in an air-conditioned place, like just doing sort of a jog, right? This is a metaphor. You get it?
Right, I get it. But I think the other important thing is that like even after we do all this shit, you might still not like running.
There's no guarantee.
You still, right, after 8 months of us picking the perfect playlist, running shoes, and full Nike outfit, you still might look at me and say, listen, Claire, it's just not going to work for me. I tried really hard and it's not happening. And then we get to decide what to do with our relationship.
Yes, exactly. And like you're saying, kind of, I think, where you're just like, if you ask somebody to go running and they're like, absolutely fucking not, then there's not much you can do with that, right? Like,
right.
And we don't know where this guy is. We don't know, like, if you can continue to talk to him, if you can start to like slowly warm up, if he can start to slowly warm up to that idea. Usually these talks are many, many, many talks over many, many weeks or months, right? Or over a year, whatever. This takes a while for somebody to maybe come around and open up to it. Then you have to ask yourself, cool. Like, all right. I mean, is this cool? Do I want to wait a year or two to go on this journey that has absolutely no guarantee? You don't have to. You definitely do not have to. But I feel like if this couple comes into me since I am sort of brainwashed and trained into being a relationship advocate, I'm like, oh, how do we keep this relationship together? What do we need to do then? Can we start like slowly bumping up against possibly opening up? If you're like, I have to do this, and he's like, I'm not sure. Is there any leeway here?
Hold on. I have a side question for you now. Are you always attempting to keep the relationship together in your office?
When a couple comes in, like the first step into like the first session, my mind is like, okay, they're here because, unless they say otherwise, but they're here because they want to keep this relationship together. I'm going to do everything I can in like an ethical, responsible way to give them what they want. That could change after the first session. If I'm just like, oh, clearly this is not the fucking way to go. But if they're wanting me to be a relationship advocate and keep them together, then I will do that until I ethically, psychologically cannot do that anymore. So that's where do you operate differently?
I operate on, like, I am not invested in keeping the relationship together or invested in having them break up. I'm invested in both of them feeling as satisfied with the outcome as possible, acknowledging that like both of them might feel a little dissatisfied with whatever happens, that it could potentially be painful to stay together and painful to break up. But I always tell my couples that I am not on team breakup or team stay together. Like that's not the thing that I'm working towards. I'm working towards them figuring out what will be happy for both of them.
Yeah, I'm there to be like, you're staying together, motherfuckers, and you're suffering like the rest of us. Yeah.
Apparently. I have a lot of clients come in the first session and go, we're trying to figure out if we should break up or not.
Yes.
That's like 80% of my couples are like, we're here because we love each other, but also should we break up? Tell us, Claire. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's meet 17 more times.
Yeah. I mean, you say that. Now you've released me from this, like, I'm going to be a relationship advocate and try to keep you together. But it's almost like if you're coming and you want me to keep you together, then I'm going to believe you that is what you want and that is what's best for you. We may reveal that that's not actually the case. So I come from like a slightly different paradigm. You and I would probably end up in the same place working with the couple, but it might be a good question for you to ask your couples counselor. Are you like somebody who's going to try to keep you two together forever? Like, where are you coming from? Are you more like Claire? Are you more like me? Are you more on different ends of the spectrum?
Honestly, I think it could be beneficial for this couple to go to a couples counselor if they feel like they need support in working through this challenge with an unbiased person.
But make sure that couples counselor knows a lot about ethical non-monogamy and is not just, some random standard couples, some rando. Because I don't know. I went to school a million years ago, over 20 years ago, and there was absolutely no mention of anything outside of the monogamy like paradigm. Was there anything? Did they have any classes or any conversations?
So, because I'm a spring chicken compared to you, I don't actually think in my social work degree they mentioned much outside of monogamy, but because I got my sex therapy certificate, San Diego State, because I got my sex therapy certificate, we talked a lot about polyamory and non-monogamy, and I've done a lot of my own research on it. I mean, many of my couples or even individuals are non-monogamous, and they come to me because I am a poly-affirming therapist.
Yeah. You'd think that, I don't know, San Diego, I went to San Diego State, but for undergrad. And you'd think San Diego might be like a pretty progressive place, but there's a little...
It's conservative.
There's funny business going on. Yeah. There's like a real like Navy armed forces vibe because there's so many boats.
Because all the boats, there's Camp
They
Pendleton.
call them boats. Yep. Yeah. There's Camp Pendleton. Yeah, boats with the like Navy boys on it.
Yeah, tons of Navy.
Yeah, it's a little more conservative vibe than you'd want it to be. But I'm still sort of surprised that maybe San Diego State didn't. But what fucking college is doing it?
Basic curriculum. I don't know.
So we cannot tell this caller what they really want in their heart. We can encourage you to go to a good couples counselor. Do we have any other tips?
Well, I gave them the Anxious Person's Guide to Non-Monogamy. I also post a lot of poly stuff. There's lots of good poly educators on Instagram and TikTok that do a lot of good work. And I think like really getting into each of y'all's whys of why not and why for opening up your relationship, and then moving through those feelings and fears, and like really understanding whether this relationship is going to be satisfying to you or not.
Yeah. Break up with him, babe. You could do better. Okay. Problem solved. You know, taking care of ourselves isn't always easy. I talk a lot about mental health and self-care, but sometimes it's the simple things, like making sure you're eating right, that makes the biggest difference. For me, finding balance in my life means less stress around meals, and that's where Factor has been a total game changer. I resent that I have to take time out of my day to make a healthy meal, but with Factor making them for me, the resentment goes out the window, babe. Their meals are chef-crafted and dietitian approved, so I know I'm getting something that not only tastes good, but is also good for me. Plus, Factor's meals are ready in just 2 minutes. That's right, no more stressing over meal prep, no grocery shopping, and definitely no messy kitchen to clean up afterward, which is the worst. I can just enjoy something healthy without all the extra stuff. Whether you're looking to cut calories, pack in more protein, or keep it low carb with keto, Factor has something for everyone. And with 35 meals and over 60 add-ons each week, there's always something new to try. So if you're ready to simplify your routine and fuel your body without the hassle, head to factormeals.com/solved50 and use code SOLVED50 to get 50% off your final box plus 20% off your next month. That's code SOLVED50 at factormeals.com/solved50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
Hi, Jeff. So I met a guy a little over a year and a half ago, and since meeting, him and I have gotten really close. He's pretty much my best friend. When we're alone together, we hug, kiss, hold hands. We have been intimate a few times. We talk every single day, but we're technically not dating. My previous relationship was 5 years long, and it was with a man who was very emotionally and mentally abusive. And that's caused me to be pretty scared of dating, except with this new guy. He is absolutely amazing, and I feel so safe and comfortable with him. He checks off every single box that I could want. The problem is that we met because his daughter and my daughter are friends, and they are aware that him and I are friends and that we hang out and do things together. We do things just him and I and with our kids. Our girls that are friends are 17 years old and they're seniors in high school. But they've told us that they don't want us to date. They feel like it would negatively affect their friendship if things didn't work out between us. Another thing is he says that he's not ready to date either. He's told me that the big reason is because our girls object to it. But he's also just said that he's not ready. He went through a pretty tough divorce a few years ago, and he's told me he just doesn't feel like he could emotionally support me or be there for me, just be all in like he should be when he's dating someone. So I have a few questions. One, how much should your children be involved in choosing who you date? And if him and I did ever decide we wanted to officially try dating each other, how would we approach that with our kids? Or is it just a very selfish thing for me to want, and it's a horrible idea and I shouldn't even think about it? Also, if I feel like I'm ready to date, but he's not, should I just move on? The thought of putting myself out there and dating anyone besides him gives me major anxiety. But I'm about to be 39 and I'm ready to find my person. Hope you can help me. Thank you.
Break up, babe. You can do better. Right?
That's Jeff's only answer. We should make t-shirts with that, with your face.
I know we should. Oh my God. There's so much happening in this question.
There is so much. What's your take, Jeff?
My take is that he doesn't want to fucking date her right now. Like he doesn't want it. The kids don't want it. The only person that wants it is really her. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is on the fence, maybe sending mixed messages or doesn't exactly know what he wants, but he's saying he doesn't want it.
He's definitely sending mixed messages by fucking her and kissing her and holding her hand, but then saying, I don't want to date. Although he's being very clear, I don't want to date. Maybe I'm into like physicality, but whatever. Go on.
Yes. That's what I think. I remember listening to this before. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I want to talk to this. I want to like dissect this with Claire, but how much is there to really dissect? I think like the question of like, how much should your kids affect whatever, but that's interesting, but he doesn't want to do it.
Right.
And I also, it's like a little, something goes off in me when someone describes somebody as like, oh my God, they are perfect for me, checks off all the boxes, but there's just one thing that we can't be together. And I'm like, what? No fucking way are they perfect. And you know, does that ever like
they can't be perfect because they don't want to be with you.
Exactly.
They can't be. It's just like the right person, wrong time narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so many people's answer is that there is no right person, wrong time. It's the wrong person because it's not going to work out right now. And all we have is right now. We can't be living our life in 2 years from now or whatever. We don't know what's going to happen. And so choose the things that are going to fill your soul up currently in this one moment that we have. And I mean, I think the real question is, girl, why are you devaluing yourself so much to accept this dude's breadcrumbs instead of going out to get someone who is so fucking excited to be with you and celebrate you and be your person? You deserve that.
Yeah. This feels like, I mean, yes to all of that. I want that to really sink in to like this caller's question, because I think that's sort of the most important part of this. Sometimes when you can't quite nail somebody down, or you can't quite like have the commitment that you want, we start to idealize all the other things about them. They're so perfect. They check off all the boxes. There's nobody else I'd rather be with than this person. There's something about the not having this person, craving the person, that's making it so that you can't quite clearly see the flaws and imperfections. I'm sure there's many here that you're not really identifying. So maybe take a beat and think about that. I'm also, this is just sort of triggering for me, or not triggering, it just makes me think of my parents when my parents got divorced and when they started separately dating other people, and how weird and awkward and uncomfortable that was. And if it was up to me, they would have never dated anybody else. Like, I just did not like that feeling. Yeah, I wanted to have that much power over their dating lives. Rudely, they never asked me. I was 6 years old. I should have been the one making the decisions for them, clearly. Do you agree, Claire? Yes or no?
I fully agree. I think honestly, though, that like as a kid who feels powerless in your parents' divorce, whether or not you agree that your parents should have gotten divorced or not, it can feel like you can just feel so out of control. And so I'm not surprised that both of their daughters are trying to exert control in this way and also want to preserve their own friendship. I also want to note that there's probably a lot of trauma working from her past relationship, and that's probably informing a lot of the lens with which she's seeing this relationship. And I want to congratulate her for leaving that abusive relationship. It's really terrifying and can be really unsafe to do that. And to notice the ways in which that old patterning is showing up in this current relationship, because it sounds like this, well, I know it's not a quote unquote relationship, whatever, this connection with this guy. And I think that it's important to note that potentially this guy is a lot better than her ex-husband, which is great, but he still is not valuing her fully in a romantic sense, because he said to her, he cannot show up for her 100%. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what that would change from the way they're already interacting, but I want her to understand that she deserves the world. And if this guy can't give it to her, then she gets to move on. And I think that he seems great in certain ways, right? Like their kids get along. What a blessing. They're, they are able to do family things together. He seems like sort of emotionally available, whatever. But like you can find all of those things with someone else and your daughter might be into that.
Yeah, there is a less messy, complicated option for you with somebody who's more available or wants to be in relationship with you, right? Like that's a thing. It's hard. It's hard to believe that though.
It's hard to have a felt sense of that when you're in the middle of it.
Yes. Yeah. So if this relationship or romantic connection ends, then you'll have to go through grief and sadness. It'll be hard. It'll be difficult. I'm also wondering, is there any, I'm just projecting here, but I'm wondering if there's going to be like any resentment with her kid. If she is being like, it's my kid that's getting in the way of my one true love. Like it feels gross and it feels
is she going to resent the kid?
Is she going to resent the kid for getting in the way of her relationship that would have worked out if her kid would have been like a lot more chill and cool or something, or accepting?
Sucks. A 17-year-old just isn't chill enough. When I first heard this, I was like, oh, well, the girls are going to go off, like probably leave the house, like if they're going to the next, higher education, if they're left. Going off. Right. Yeah. Maybe they aren't, but also it doesn't really matter because then she goes on to say that like, he's not available.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I think a part of her knows that, like, you can hear it at the end, like, should I just move on? And I think you're right that it's like not actually a question about how much should you let your kids dictate your dating life. Although I do think it's important if they're going to be, I don't think they should dictate it, but I think that they could be collaborators with you in it at a certain point. You don't need to be like. They should
be considered.
Yes, they should be considered. Like you don't need to be running every single date by them. Like
you should not do that.
Know that.
Nope.
But I like considering both of the girls, they both say no. And I also think the other thing that's not being really considered is that if things don't go well between her and this dude, things still might get sticky with the girls because they're in some kind of connection. And that could be, a friendship connection or romantic connection, whatever it is. If it doesn't end well, that also can impact your kids. So it doesn't really matter if you date or not because it's still going to impact them.
That's true. Yeah. I think that's that. I want to say that we like solved the problem, but there's no, I think we just sort of revealed the problem like that, like this is a different way to look at the problem. And maybe that the things that you're focusing on, caller, isn't like exactly what you should be focusing on. It's not so much the kids and how much impact should the kids have. It's that there maybe isn't much here to begin with. And that maybe you don't want to let go of this and you don't want to go into the grief process because grief is the worst. It's the absolute worst. Yeah. So you want to avoid it at all costs. Yes, I get it. But good for you for finding somebody who's, better than the last person. That's something that's good.
It's only up from here.
That's right. Okay, Adam, play the next question for us, please.
Hi, Jeff. I am a poly single female. I prefer to date ENM men, ethical, non-monogamous, married men. All poly men ask me is why. And I'm really glad about that because it made me hone in on my why. I want to be with a man who understands connection and commitment. And so I'm always choosing the men who are in a committed marriage or a committed partnership and have been for a long time. And I'm looking for that kind of depth. And so here's my problem. With the men, the ENM men that I date, I usually only last about 3 to 6 months. And then I get either just anxious to move on to somebody new like I see another shiny penny out there, or I just move on because I start to get uncomfortable with not having them enough. So my question is, Jeff, does my behavior seem like I'm avoiding something? I know you're going to ask me, what do these relationships do for you? Like, well, they keep me able to have sex as often as I want, like every other day, and attention, and somebody desires me, and I fucking love it. But as soon as they at all look like they're going to disappoint me in any way, shape, or form, I move on. So I've upset some E&M men and couples in doing so, and I don't want to do that. I'm a super nice person, and I really think my superpower is love, and maybe I'm just not using it right. Thanks, Jeff.
So I think my initial reaction to this is this an issue for you, or is this an issue for your friends? And if it's not an issue for you, let's forget about it. But let's just move on. But I'm wondering why her friends are so concerned. I'm wondering how often she's asking her friends how concerned they are. Or I'm wondering how much this is like how many times does she get on the phone every day and one of her friends is like, listen, this is going to the wrong place.
Yeah.
And also, are any of these friends poly? Because they don't sound like it.
All very important questions.
Yes.
Because sometimes, if I'm talking to a friend or maybe even a client and they're just like, well, my friends say this, my friends say that, I might react with like, fuck your friends. Who gives a shit about your friends? But I also might react with like, okay, let's talk about why what your friends are saying are affecting you so much. Is it because it's actually a part of you thinks that way too? Is it because they're bringing up a really good concern? And is it because they're holding up this mirror and you want to make sure if like that is a part of you, and then you get to make better, more informed decisions if your friends are correct with all of it or some of it? Like, let's go ahead and try to figure it out. But it's tricky. We can't ask her this, and we don't know exactly what's going on. It sounds like her friends are concerned for her. And she's wondering if she should also be concerned for herself. She's wondering if she's acting, if she's reacting, if she's acting out because of the horrible experience and trauma that she has gone through before. Yeah. And is it a problem if I'm acting out? And aren't we all acting out, Claire? Like, we are. Yeah.
We truly are.
So there's that, but she wants to be more, conscious about it, and that's a great thing to be, is to like have curiosity.
I also want to note that you can find men to date who are emotionally available and, considerate and compassionate, who are not already married, if that's what you want. Like, also being married doesn't necessarily mean you actually hold those traits. Totally. It just means that you're married.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of like assumptions or projection going on her end that it must mean that they're a committed man that knows how to have a deep relationship or whatever.
Right. Absolutely not.
And interestingly, she's the one that's ending it every 3 to 6 months. So you're wanting to have this long, deeper connection, yet you're not allowing yourself at all to have a deeper connection. So there's that. But she is feeling, I don't know, remorse or something about how these couples are getting frustrated with her and mad at her. Her special, what'd she say? Her special power
is love.
Her superpower is love. My superpower is pull-ups. Claire, how many pull-ups?
Did anyone expect him to say that?
I want you to guess, how many pull-ups do you think I can do?
10?
I can do like 2 or 3 more than that. And that's the thing, though, is that you might guess 10, and then I do like 12 or 13. You're like, you're blowing my mind, babe. That's a lot of pull-ups. That's a lot of pull-ups.
It's a lot of pull-ups, Jeff. I'm really proud of you.
That's my superpower. So some people have love, some people have pull-ups. And she wants to use her superpower responsibly. I get it. And so she wants to be more thoughtful about what she's doing. Like my armchair psychology response is like, yeah, you're totally being fucking reactive to what's going on. And you're like, and you're doing things with maybe good intention, but you're being a little reckless about it, possibly. And you're breaking some fucking hearts here. And so maybe don't do that, or switch it up, or be more honest with the type of people. Be more honest at the beginning of a connection.
Yeah.
You know what? Right? I don't know. Am I on the right path here?
Yeah. I mean, I think that.
Are you still thinking about the 12 to 13 the pull-ups I can do? Is that like?
I'm trying to imagine.
Obsessed. Yes.
I'm
Move
obsessed.
on.
I'm just thinking about how that's your superpower. And like how you use it for good. That's really what I'm wondering. I hope your next reel is just you doing 13 pull-ups.
I'll do that. I promise you.
Okay, so beyond the pull-ups, I think that she can be upfront and clear with these people. Like it's fine if you want to have 3 to 6 month relationships. It doesn't sound like that's what you're intending to do, or that's what the expectations are when you first start dating these men. And yeah, that she is breaking some hearts. And like, you can make relationships whatever you want them to be, especially if you're clear about it. Like, if you're going to date multiple people at the same time, you want to be extra clear and conscientious when you're communicating about your hopes, dreams, and wishes for what the relationship will be like. Also, I love that she notes that she's not seeing them as much as she would like to, but somehow she's getting fucked every other day.
I know.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot for someone who has another partner. I mean, I'm here for it. Like, good for you, girl. But I just think, I'm like, okay, if you want to see someone more than that, then find a more primary partner. You don't have to be monogamous to see someone more than that. Find someone who's non-hierarchical. Like, there are lots of other options, but you don't necessarily have to date married men to find the things that you're looking for.
Right. Yes. And she also mentions that there's a possibility that she could be addicted or obsessed to the dopamine feelings that she's getting. So it does feel like she's chasing a high here, which is also something that maybe should be looked at. Again, I don't want to pathologize any of this. As long as you're aware of what's going on and being honest about what you want and being really ethical and upfront, then cool, right?
Right. I mean, make relationships what you want of them. Make sex what you want of it. Like, that's totally fine. It is all about being clear. And I'm glad that she was able to tune into her why, because I think that's really important, especially when you are pursuing any kind of E&M relationship, and for yourself and for the others that you're dating. And so to really be able to focus on that, I don't think it has to mean you're avoidant. I don't think it has to mean you're obsessed with sex. You know, I think being aware of it and noticing it and asking yourself what that means for you and what it means to you is really one of the most important takeaways.
Yeah. And tell your friends to shut the fuck up, I guess, or just shut the fuck up and be supportive. But it's hard. I mean, I've been that friend, though. I've gone to my friend and been like, I'm concerned. What's going on here? I'm seeing this behavior. It's kind of erratic. It's like scaring me. It seems like you're being reactive. So, I mean, say thanks to your friends then. It sounds like they are really caring. And yeah, I'm also interested. Do you have other poly friends? Do you have a community that you can talk to? Yeah.
And don't forget to wear a condom.
Don't forget to wear a condom.
My safer sex tip.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you don't really actually want to be in a longer term relationship right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you do, but it's hard for you to do that. I don't know. So yeah, go to therapy. Break up with him, babe. You can do better.
There you go. Problem solved.
Problem solved. Just keep an eye on my content for those 12 to 13 pull-ups I can do. That superpower.
It better be 12 to 13. It's going to be one boomerang.
Right, exactly. I think... Thank you, Adam. I needed that. That's what I was looking for. I think we're out of time. I think that's all we have for today. Claire, can you tell everybody where they can find you? We'll link it in the show notes, but let them know.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Jeff. It's always a pleasure. You can find me at Sex Clarified, spelled normally with a D at the end, on all social media platforms. I also just started a Substack, so check that out. You can also find my website, sexclarified.com.
We love it. Okay. I'll talk to you later, Claire.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Problems. Okay. We've identified my problems. Now it's time to get to work. Patience, communication. What did he say?